Hello everyone, welcome to ENGA 4208 Issues in Cameroon English. We are beginning with the course outline, and I would want you to know a few things on this course outline before we get into the lecture proper. This course is taught by two lecturers. It will be taught by Professor Nkwetisama and by Dr. Fonka Hans. So it's good that you understand what this course is all about. The course description. This course introduces students to the history and the development of English. And uh, we're looking at the history and development of English in Cameroon, but we'll also look at the history and development of English as a whole before we break down to Cameroon as a nation. And we will be the course will enable you to keep in touch with the research in this area. What are people doing as far as Cameroon English is concerned? That is what you will also want to know at the end of this course, and so many other things that I would like you to read in the course description, which you have. I've already posted to you. You can already read it. The course objectives. We have the following objectives in this course. The course introduces you to the history and development of English in Cameroon. It acquaints you with the concept of new Englishes, showing how it applies to Cameroon. So when we are talking about Cameroon English, one thing you need to understand is that we are talking about new Englishes because Cameroon English falls under new Englishes. And we also, one of the objectives is also to introduce you to issues in the adaptation process of RP to Cameroon English. Do we speak, do Cameroonians speak English like British citizens, or how have they adopted this English that they took from the colonial masters, or called RP? Are there some processes of adaptation that Cameroon English has developed, which makes Cameroon English specific to Cameroon? We also have, we'll also in this course be looking at issues in varieties of Cameroon English and the linguistic effect of contacts. And then lastly, we'll examine different Anglophone, Francophone claims on the usage of English. You would have been aware that in Cameroon, most people, either Anglophones or Francophones, will claim that we speak English better than this one. We'll have to look at those claims based on what people have investigated and written on it. So we also have the outcomes here, which I want you to read them. Read the outcomes. And then we'll have learning activities. The learning activities are a combination of lectures, discussions, and exercises. We'll be having lectures, we'll have a lot of exercises that you'll be doing, and we'll have discussions in class. When we do our online classes, when we get to class, we will do the discussions of the things we have done online. And exercises are always given at the end of lectures. So you should be ready to have exercises to do and then submit them. So exercise will be given in the form of assignments for you to do. Course requirement: to be considered fully prepared for this course, you are required to read the course outline in between the lines and equally read the set of books recommended. We have some books that are recommended. Make sure that you read them or the sections that are indicated. Let's look at assessment methods, which I am sure you're already versed with by now. But for each course, the assessment method is completely different. We will have attendance, and we start attendance on the platform, on the university platform. I'll start looking at attendance. How many students get to the platform to get notes, to get the lectures? We'll start from there, and then we'll get to online, to face-to-face classes. We'll continue with the uh, attendance. So that gives you 5 points. We have class test, that is 15 points. We have individual group assignment, 10 points. But one thing you need to understand is that since there are two teachers teaching, if I give you your test on 15, know that it will be on 7.5. Your individual group assignment will be on 5. Even if I give it on 10, you need to know that it will be on 5, because the other lecturer has to give his own marks on 15 as well. So both marks 15, 15 will give you 30 points, which is the CA requirement for the university. Now, let's look at classroom behavior, because there are certain things I want you to understand before we even move on to the other things. You are expected to behave in a mature and responsible manner, keeping an open mind. Uh, Responsible manner is not only in classroom, even on the platform, you are expected to behave responsibly. So you don't need to behave in a way that will cause some other students to feel bad attending the class. So whatever you do, there are sanctions that follow. Cell phone policy. You are not allowed to use your phone in class. I mean, in the class, face-to-face class, but for online, it is a tool in your hands which you have to use to facilitate studies. Dressing code, well, even in your online classes, if we are to have a class on Zoom or on Skype, your dressing should be responsible. We will not allow any kind of careless dressing because you are at home. You don't sit with a breastwear at home or with a singlet in the class because you are at home. You must dress well when you're attending your classes. And for when you're coming online in class, we expect you to dress well as well. For the course content, you have that is a displayed introduction to concept and definition. So look at introduction and the course outline, the historical perspective on Cameroon English, the transportation and transplantation of English, the colonial period, the post-independent period. So that would be the first week. In week 2, look at the promotion of English language in Cameroon, functions of English language in Cameroon, and English debate or English language debate. We'll look at that and then we'll move to perceptions. This is the section that I'm going to, all this section, the first section of this work of the handling it up to week 7. And then after week 7, Professor Nkwetisama will handle that part. So we'll move to perception. We'll look at perception by lawmakers. What is perception? We'll have to understand what it is first before we start looking at what perception by the different people concerned or the different groups concerned. And then we move to Cameroon English and contact. We look at the spread of English among Anglophones, influence from local languages, and the spread of English among Francophones, English influence from French. You will bear with me that sometimes we speak English, but there's a lot of French in it or a lot of our local languages in it. It is because of the influence. So we look at how much of this influence we have in this English that we speak. And is it this influence that makes it Cameroon English or some other thing? That is what we'll be looking at. And then we move on to issues in the linguistic Oh, we have Cameroon English in education setting, Cameroon English in formal education. How is Cameroon English in education? Do we use Cameroon English in teaching or British English? And do people actually speak this Cameroon English or they speak British English? So that is what we also want to look at. Issues in Cameroon in the linguistic description of Cameroon English. We have phonological description, we have um, correspondence between RP and Cameroon English. You have spelling, pronunciation, stress deviation, adaptation of English of RP sounds to Cameroon English. You have shortening of long vowels, monophthongization of diphthongs, devoicing of word final consonants. So these are some of the things we're looking at. And then we now move to ESL, English as a second language and English as a foreign language distinction. And we'll look at institutionalization and disinstitutionalization of English, the indigenization and expansion. We also have homophones and heterophones in Cameroon English. So we also will have in with 10, we move to issues and varieties of Cameroon English. Standard Cameroonian English, non-standard Cameroon English, Cameroonian Pidgin English and its functions, Creole, structural differences between Pidgin English and English. I also have English language and language planning. We'll also be looking at that. And the status of English language in Cameroon, language planning and the like. So these are the things we will be looking at in this course. Of course, you also in the section on exercise, assignments, and teaching methods. You have the different methods, lectures. You also have some articles and books you have to read. And these are for particular lectures. So when we get to those lectures, I'll provide the necessary documentation for you to read at that moment. Then you have the recommended reading. So you have this document, Achembe Language Policy and Identity Construction, the Dynamics of Cameroon's Multilingualism. You need to read that. You also need to read Cameroon English Authenticity, Ecology and Evolution. Then you read an article by Fonka 2017, Consumers or Producers of English Language. And this is more about English language in Cameroon and Nigeria, but you focus on the part that has to do with Cameroon. And you also look at decline in spoken English in Cameroon on Anglophone campuses. Then we have Quega, the effect of French on English L2 in Cameroon. We talked about the influence of French on the English of Francophones, and of course, also on the English of Anglophones. We also see that. So we'll look at all that, and then we'll see how we can move ahead. Then we have Sala, does Cameroonian English have grammatical norms? With this, it will help us to look at the grammatical part of Cameroon English. And then lastly, we'll look at Simu Bobda and Baangwana, 2004, an introduction to English speech. And this, you'll find the definition of Cameroon English in this document and many others. So in brief, this is our course outline, and from this moment, we are moving on to the introduction of the course itself. So we will, from this moment, begin to start discussion and exercises that go with this course.